Jeff Traylor taught me this. High IQ, high character. You start with those two things first. Don't look at the logo. Don't look at who they've coached or what teams they're on. Can they think? Are they intelligent? And are they a good dude? Joe and I, over the last probably 3-4 years, have really connected in the off seasons and talked ball. I think he's one of the best quarterback coaches I've ever been.
Premium diesel. Joe Montana, Buster Douglas, John Elway.
Daisy right, Sully, blitz right, Travolta right, pumpkin left, alert Charlotte left, on one.
Bunch right, Zach. We'll go 15 tip scissors, cannon to 300 jet F stick.
Victory is a great play call.
First of all, thanks for letting us come down here and follow you around and be here. And man, the first couple days or the first day getting to know you, I think you might be my favorite coach in the entire college football world.
Wow.
So
it's big.
It's a lot.
Big
I know. I just think it's so cool to like see everybody talk to each other and how they they feel like they're focused but relaxed and not like walking on eggshells all over the place. And I just think that's, I think I've been around programs where everybody feels like they can't talk to the head coach or like they have to be here in a certain way. But I feel like you've just structured this program in a way that people can love football forever and not get burnt out of it. Is that how you've always been, or how's that, like, where does that kind of come from?
Yeah, I think that's just who I am. Kind of always having the heartbeat of an assistant. I just was. And I think it's important to have that relationship and that connection. I really do. I don't think it's something that is fake or phony. It's real. I love camaraderie. I love brotherhood. I love a team. I've been on a team since I was 4 years old.
Right.
Like it's not like I haven't been a part of football or something bigger than me. So yeah, I think it's a testament to my parents and how they raised me and the coaches I've been around and the GAs that I worked with when I was a GA. And it's just, you always talk about, man, if I'm ever a head coach, I'm going to do it this way. A lot of guys don't. A lot of guys fall back to what they just came from or maybe when they were most successful, which I think to a point you have to do that. But if you're not authentic, then it just, I think it creates a really negative workspace and work environment. And I want guys to be free-flowing and able to have conversations with me. I tell people all the time, like, I'm a normal ass dude. Like, I just love football. I love my family. I love the Lord, and that's what I do.
That's awesome.
No doubt.
This job specifically, and we'll talk about your journey in a minute, but this job specifically is a big deal for you because Dad played here. And we were just looking at pictures of you wearing Wildcat, jersey back in the day. But taking this job, like, obviously had a ton of success at Oregon. Probably had a bunch of opportunities, but right before this, you said, if I ever had the opportunity to take this job specifically, I was going to do it. Why was this job such a big home run for you and your family?
Well, obviously, this is home, but I think if you only think about this job and taking it because of it being Kentucky and my background, that I would have been thinking about it emotionally, which there's emotions taking a job, especially this one. But I just always have seen what this place can be. And I feel like with my background with Dan Lanning and Jeff Traylor and some phenomenal coaches throughout my career, and because of me, I feel like this place can be something really special because of not just the University of Kentucky, but like geographically where we like lie. We can go north to recruit, we can go south to recruit. We can go recruit the DMV, we can go the Midwest. Big Blue Nation's insane. They love the Wildcats, which I love a fan base that loves their team. We have the facilities. We have the structure and the process from where I've been. And when you can apply that here, I think it just creates like a winning culture, a winning environment, and a winning edge that you need to be successful. So I've seen Kentucky win some massive games over, my lifetime. And then I've seen them like narrowly miss wins. Mm-hmm. And like, why are there those narrow misses? Is it the process? Is it the players? Is it the coaching? Like, there's factors involved in a wins and loss every single Saturday. But I've just been a part of winning my whole life. At Trinity High School, I won 3 state championships. At Louisville, as a player, we won 2 conference titles. As a coach now, I've won 3 conference championships, and I've had 69 wins over the last 6 years. So I'm obviously like really confident like what I've been a part of works. And if we can apply that here to Kentucky and get the right people coaching wise, if we can get the right players that are bought into this process, that love it, there's no reason why this place shouldn't be successful.
No doubt. When you talk about hiring the right people, I guess when we were thinking about it, we're like, oh, I bet he's going to call it this year. But you've hired Joe Sloan, and I was not really familiar with Coach Sloan before I got here. But man, sitting in those QB meetings, he is such an intelligent human, a fantastic football coach, and a fantastic quarterback coach nonetheless. For you, why was that decision? It feels like kind of a no-brainer a little bit because of his background, his ability to develop quarterbacks, and feels like you've put a lot of trust in him so far.
For sure. I think that's when you're building a staff, and Jeff Traylor taught me this, high IQ, high character. You start with those 2 things first. Don't look at the logo. Don't look at who they've coached or what teams they're on. Can they think? Are they intelligent? And are they a good dude? Right? That's where I think it really starts. And Joe and I over the last probably 3-4 years have really connected in the off seasons and talked ball. And we've connected through recruiting as well and talked about quarterback recruits. And so I got a real good feel for Joe. This wasn't just the last 4 or 5 months. It was really the last 3 or 4 years. And I loved his organization. I loved his approach to the game. He's a common sense guy like me, but he's also cutting edge and wants to be different and unique. I think he's one of the best quarterback coaches I've ever been around. Why? Because he harps on the details in every facet of the game. And he can coach a Kenny Minchie the same way or as hard as he can coach Brendan Ward or Ja'Kai here as you know, the number 2, number 3. You know, we were in New York together at the Heisman Trophy ceremony when Jayden Daniels won it. And so I just know he's elite in every single way. He's a great father. He's a great husband. So he encompasses, I think, all the values that I look for in a coworker and a friend. And he's called it in this league, which the SEC is, I mean, it's tough. So he's been around and seen other defenses in this league. And I'm relying on him in some aspects of just knowing the conference, knowing the opponents that we're about to play. So he was just the right guy for the job. And on top of that, he can really, really, really recruit, and he can move the needle in recruiting, not in any, slick way. He just is diligent. He's determined to get the best, and so am I. And so we align from the get-go. And I'm just really excited about Joe being here, and I think he's made our team, better just by being here at Kentucky.
You talk about, full circle moments, you coming back to Kentucky. And another full circle moment is your high school offensive coordinator is now on staff with you here, Andrew Coverdale. What is it like to have that type of a full circle moment in your coaching career?
I mean, it's pretty unreal, to be honest. I mean, Coach Cove, he means so much more to me than just coach. Like, he's been a mentor of mine since I was 17, 18 years old. And I was always so enamored with his ability to coach such detail of the game at the high school level. We were doing things at Trinity that not a lot of people were doing
at all.
In 2006 and 7. And it was so much fun to play in his offense. And he gave so much freedom to the quarterback, and we were just on the cutting edge. So we've stayed in contact ever since I was done playing. And he's always just been a big role model to me on how to approach the game and how to coach people. So to be able to hire him at Kentucky is truly a full circle moment. And I'm so excited for him to be here. He's not just like a great coach. He's an unbelievable person. He connects with players of all ages, all races, all religions. It doesn't matter. Like, Cove is a glue guy for his staff and a phenomenal football coach.
The schematic side of it, I think you're maybe even understating how advanced you guys were in high school at Trinity. Like, going back and watching some of those old videos on YouTube and seeing what he was doing, like getting an empty quads bunch, like he was just doing crazy stuff. And it feels like some of that identity has shown up in your offenses at UTSA and Oregon, and some of the creativity and stressing the defenses. And has obviously, I'm sure a lot of that has come from him. What are some other influences offensively on you throughout your journey?
Yeah, definitely. Coach Coverdale was really where it started offensively, and what we did at Trinity. You know, my longest tenured coordinator that I played for was Sean Watson, and he's now the head coach of Wofford, and he was a big influence on me. He took the West Coast system and really simplified it for us at Louisville. And, you know, he was the coordinator for Teddy, and, you know, we had some great players, and we won a lot of games under Sean. Extremely organized, great with using personnel groupings, especially 12, which I think we've done a good job over the years of utilizing 12 personnel. His naked boot game, play action pass, I thought was really good. We had a great kill system as well at Louisville when I was a player. So that was a big influence on me for sure. And Cov was great at my time in high school. But then once I got to college, I think Sean did a great job of simplifying the game for us, and really using like movement key reads was big with him. Then obviously once we were done together, he went to Texas with Coach Strong, and then I stayed back with Petrino for one more year. And working for Coach Petrino, it was really cool to see a system come to a school where he had previously been, but guys that had coached with him before, and just how streamlined it was, and how everybody was speaking the same language. There was, if you did not speak in specific terms that Coach Petrino had laid out in the offense, I mean, you heard it. You know, if we called it a single block, play side combination between the guard and the center on a zones play, and you called it a cage, like center and guard, like you would get called out. Like, no, this is a single. It's not a cage. You might have said cage at your last school.
But this is what we do.
This is what we call it. So anybody coming into that system had to learn that system. If you said, well, you know, we used to do like this. No, we never did it like that. This is how we do it. And so I love that approach. And we're not there yet here because we got a lot of different minds and we're gluing that together. But what I'm excited about here is building that connection on the offensive staff. So when we move forward after the spring ball, like this is what we call it. We call this play this. This is the technique and fundamentals associated with it. And if you go to a clinic and talk, like that's what I'm expecting you to say. I don't want you to say something about the previous school you're at. The way Coach Petrino coached, I mean, he confronted and demanded, you know, every day. Some people call that being an asshole. I actually, like, that's how my high school coach was, not Coach Cove, but Bob Beatty. I mean,
absolutely.
He demanded a lot. So I was used to hard coaching. And then Coach Petrino was all about getting the best players the ball. He fed the studs, right? That was his thing.
Right in line. 100%.
Right. And that's what I've taken in my approach is get our best players the ball as many times as we can. So he was a big influence. You know, I worked with Tom Herman for a year at Texas, and he was kind of like that in terms of the staff all knew the calls. Everybody was on the same page. They were aligned. And although that first year, I think we went 7-6, it was a good turnaround from the previous staff, really with Coach Strong after he got let go. And I did learn a lot from Tom in the RPO world and 11 personnel world, which that was big in that offense. And then one of my biggest growth years was at Lake Travis.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, this is a
I kind of took all this stuff.
So you go from like you're a GA at Texas, you know, ascending in the coaching world, and then obviously like staff transitions happen. You know, things get crazy, and you end up coaching at Austin Lake Travis. What was that? What was that like to, you know, now you're in control. Now you got the call sheet. Like, what's that like?
Well, when I was at Texas, I had an opportunity to go to Northern Iowa to be the receivers coach. And I went up there, and I just didn't feel like at that point in my career, I wasn't there yet. You know, I was like, all right, I'm going to spend one more year at Texas. I'm going to do this. Like, we got a good thing going. We got Shane Buechele and Sam Ellinger. Like, I'm going to stick it out here. Still got the UT brand, Big 12. And then my wife at the time, there wasn't much going on in Northern Iowa. So she was my girlfriend at the time. I was like, if I'm going to marry this girl, I don't think I can take her to Northern Iowa.
Oh, what's your beef with Cedar Falls,
man?
I was
just like, you're in Austin. I was like,
Austin's tough
I love
to
this
leave.
girl. If I leave, she might not come with me. So that was awesome.
You got to take care of your girl first.
Exactly. So
if I would have grown up in or if I would have been around Texas and then went to Cedar Falls. I've been
Yes,
like, where
yes.
are we right now?
And it's funny too, because I think, so then I went to Lake Travis. The job opened up, and Hardy McCrary, he was at Texas. He was kind of
Yeah.
the director of high school relations, coached at Texas for a long time. His son, Cade, went to Lake Travis.
Okay.
So there was like the connection there. Jeff Traylor, he was not at Texas at the time, but his daughter, JC,
Mm-hmm.
was still finishing up at Lake Travis. So I had two guys that were Texas high school football guys
Totally.
that hit up Hank over at LT, got me an interview, and then Hank called me, I think that night, and said, yeah, we want you. And the hard part for me was leaving college, because if you were to leave college, it was hard to get back
Hard
in.
to get back.
And you're leaving the University of Texas.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, man, should I do this? But I said, you know what? I've been a QC now for the last 5 seasons. Nothing against that role. I was ready for something new and a next
New
step.
challenge.
And I could stay in Austin. So there was like a double win there.
Yeah.
And when I met Hank, we immediately connected. It was a winning program, winning tradition, 6 state titles, unbelievable quarterbacks. And they had Garrett Wilson,
That'll help.
right? So I was like, okay, we have a first-round pick at receiver.
Right.
Hudson Card was coming up as a quarterback who ended up being an Army All-American, signed with Texas. Great offensive line play over the years, a staff that was established and knew how to win at the high school level. So I said, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate Hank, because he said, hey, dude, this is your offense. I know we've been calling this a certain way, the Chad Morris way from when he was here, but
Right.
you do what you want to do. I'm hiring you for a reason. I don't want you to feel like you have to call it this way. If you think it fits, great. If not, then do something different. So, I mean, I appreciate those guys on staff, because they let me completely change the offense.
Crazy.
And these guys
Yeah.
had won like 5 state titles.
Right. Yeah. It's not
So,
like an
I mean,
unsuccessful program.
but
Yeah.
my big thing was I got to connect with these dudes.
Yeah.
You know, I want these coaches to feel the camaraderie first, my trust in them,
Mhm.
so then they can trust me. Because I was 28 years old. And you're looking at Kyle Spano. I love him to death. He's one of my favorite people in the world. He was my offensive line coach at Lake Travis.
Yeah.
He'd been there for 15 years. He'd been Chad Morris's offensive line coach at one
Right.
point.
Right.
At Stephenville, at Lake Travis. So,
Crazy.
like, those guys got to trust you. And I'm never the type of guy that comes into a situation and just like propels all this stuff on people and look how smart I am. Like, I try to like meet my guys where they're at,
Mm-hmm.
and then build the trust over time with how I prepare, with how I coach, with how I study the game and try to evolve, and then get these guys to believe in it. So that was a huge growth moment for me, because I was a young guy coming into established staff with no turnover. I was the only new guy.
Yeah. It wasn't like you were bringing your guys with you. Yeah.
But I loved every minute of being at Lake Travis. I did. So that was huge for me in terms of play calling and offensive identity. It allowed me freedom to try out stuff at freshman football and JV and see if it's going to work before I do it with the varsity.
Let's test this out first.
And we were better than most teams. We just were. So you could try stuff out, try things in game,
Yeah.
you know, or with a weaker district opponent that you knew you were going to beat pretty bad, and see if it works, you know? So,
Totally.
and all at the same time, like Ryan Day's in my office recruiting Garrett as the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. It was like the who's who of college football coming through my
Totally.
office.
Yeah.
So every day was like a clinic, and I could, hey, what about this? I remember asking Shane Beamer, because he's at OU at the time.
Right.
Talk to me about Lincoln Riley's call sheet. Like, how many plays? He was like, he's got 28 calls. I was like, no way. You know? And like, I would ask stuff, not just X's and O's, but like process.
Totally.
And learning how to build a call sheet my way. So that was really big growth opportunities
I
for
would
me there.
imagine. I would imagine.
Yeah.
And then Jeff Traylor gets the UTSA job and gives you a call. What was it about Coach Traylor that pulled you back into the college ranks?
Well, obviously, my relationship with him prior, we were at Texas together in 2015, 16.
Mm-hmm.
We got there at the same time in 2015. His family was still in Gilmer. My family and girlfriend, now wife, they were in Louisville. And so we were kind of like by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we just connected immediately because we had the same hobbies, same passions, just really similar personalities.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't have really a place to live. You know, I was staying with a buddy of mine His parents actually were in Austin, so I lived with them some of the time. And then Jeff's had a cousin that had an apartment almost like downtown Austin.
Yeah.
And so half the time I stayed with my buddy's parents, and then the other half would be a late night about, hey, Jeff, can I stay with you? And he'd be like, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
So we'd ride over, and, I'd stay with him kind of half the week. So we just connected.
Yeah.
And we were able to tell stories, and I learned about Texas high school football through him.
I bet you did, yeah.
And just how we saw the game, how we saw people, how we saw building a staff, everything that is, important to me now really showed up in those 2 years really living with Jeff.
Totally.
And so when he got to UTSA, I was one of his first calls, and he asked me to be on his staff. And I saw it as, okay, I'm in high school. I'm going to be his pass game coordinator, receiver coach. Like, I got to take this.
Yeah, totally.
And so we did, and was able to meet Barry Lunny there as well, who Barry's, I think one of the best in the business.
Yeah.
And Barry was kind of like me at Lake Travis, because we all got together. Barry's almost like Joe Sloan to me now.
Totally, yeah.
Because we all knew Jeff, and Barry was kind of the new guy.
Yeah.
And we built this offense together that was really cool. And then COVID hits, and we were able to kind of press pause on building offense and get together again. And we're like, all right, how can we make this make sense even more?
Totally.
And we kind of reshaped the offense over those 3-4 months, plugged it in with the players on Zoom calls, and, and then had summer OTAs. That was kind of the first summer OTAs.
Wow.
That's right.
And then we went out and we won 7 games.
Yeah.
We're like, man, this is pretty freaking cool, man. We ended up winning. We beat
Might have a chance.
Texas State in the opener, and like, we don't know how we won that game.
Yeah.
If you ask anybody on the staff, we're like, I still don't know how we won that game. And there was just some awesome moments over those 3 seasons. And we beat Illinois at Illinois. We beat Memphis at Memphis.
Oh, my goodness.
Beat UAB. Like, did some unprecedented things in UTSA's history. We were, I think, 11-0 in our second year. Lost to North Texas on the road in like a really rain game. They beat the crap out of us, but and then Barry leaves to go to Illinois, and then Jeff promotes me, and it's just crazy how things happen. And I think it's just aligning yourself with really good people,
100%. Yeah.
and doing things the right way, treating people with respect, holding people accountable, holding yourself accountable, and always trying to grow, and not being static, being able to try new things. And when I went to Oregon, it was completely new for me.
Totally, yeah.
Completely new, because I went from Jeff's style of doing it, Hank's style of doing it, which were similar, to Dan Lanning's style, which was, I was like drinking through a fire hose when I first got there. I was like, oh my God, like, we meet this much, we practice this much, we install this much. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this.
Right.
We recruit this much.
Right.
I'm flying across the country to get players. I'm like, oh my God.
You were on the private jet quite a bit.
I was, yes. I really was. And, but that was like the biggest growth years for me. Jeff, we had unbelievable growth, but being with Dan, to see it at that level, and to be able to maintain that success, and to see how Dan could just every day just grind and work at it, and how organized he was and how detailed he was. I was just like, holy shit, dude, this is a different. This is different. So
no doubt.
And then I got to coach Bo and Dylan and Dante and have freak shows everywhere. But there's ups and downs there too. But the process that we had was so elite. We use that word a lot, elite. It was that it allowed us to maintain success. Even when to the naked eye, you wouldn't know that we were dealing with injuries or player fatigue or coach fatigue or stuff that was going on internally. Nothing major, but just normal day-to-day stuff.
Normal coaching staff stuff,
But we were able to just like push these guys and push ourselves and hold ourselves to a standard that I had not been a part of. And so now getting to Kentucky, like, how do we have that standard, that approach every day? But I'm not Dan. I'm not Jeff. I'm not Hank. I'm not Bobby Petrino. I'm not Charlie Strong. Like, I'm me. And to do it my way and to have that approach, but have the process built that I have seen work at the highest of levels. Totally. Which to me is, I think, imperative to our success here.
It's cool. I feel like I've gotten to talk to a couple guys on the staff of just obviously seeing you in these different contexts, seeing you at UTSA. That was kind of the first time we had met. when I connected with Jeff, and then visiting you guys up at Oregon, and now being here with you guys. It's a really cool blend of obviously authentic to you, but then also like bringing in elements from the different guys you've been around, and it's cool to see you kind of make it your own, but also you kind of like pay homage to some of those guys as well. So
for sure.
it's
Yeah,
a cool.
I mean,
it's a
I'm
cool
not
mix,
here without them.
without a doubt.
I'm not,
Yeah.
and I'm not somebody that's like, I like to think I don't have much of an ego. I think all coaches have
You
some
have
sort of
to,
ego,
yeah.
just to have that edge and to feel like when I call this play, when we do this, it's going to work. It's going to win.
Exactly.
But also be able to like just humble yourself and understand how you got here, and to be able to reflect on those times and that were hard, that were tough, that were fun and exciting, and that if you just do things the right way and have a great process and have a growth mindset, it doesn't guarantee success, but I think it gives you a lot of opportunities to be successful. And regardless, you learn a lot about yourself and other people throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
So it's been fun, and I'm undefeated right now, so it's really fun.
Yeah. We're rolling.
We're rolling. We're undefeated. So
Undefeated SEC coach. Talk to me. Talk to me about the full staff meeting. I know that's something you brought with you from Oregon, but I found it super fascinating that every single member of that staff is in that full staff meeting to watch film and go over things. Why is that important to you?
I think building connection with your staff, being able to have hard conversations in front of people is something that you got to learn how to do, because you got to put your guard down. It's hard as a grown man to be called out in front of your peers. It just is, right? A lot of people like closed door conversations, which there is a way to handle that. There is closed door meetings, but it's also like players get called out in front of their own peers. Like, we should be able to call out guys in front of the other coaches and not degrade or do anything, but like, hey, why are we calling this play? All right, let's create that kind of chaos and like, oh man, uncomfortable feeling, because it's going to be uncomfortable on game days. It is. So the way we train our players is one way. We have to train the coaches the same way. It also allows me as a head coach to hear the defensive coordinator talk,
For sure.
which is big, not just for me, but for Joe Sloan. Because Jay can say, hey, Joe, this is a tough-ass play, man. Golly, this sucks. Or, hey, whenever you're in this formation, I'm calling this, like, because I see it that way. And we're not hiding things from each other. We're all on the same team. I think a lot of times in college football, because of egos, because of guys, and really the head coach not allowing freedom of thought or camaraderie or brotherhood or connection, that it can be offense versus defense.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
And that is the exact opposite of what we're creating here. This is one team. So we all got to be on the same page, number one. I think it creates connection within your staff. And then just the ability to learn from each other, I think, is huge. I mean, I learned more from Tosh Lupoy over the last 3 seasons and Dan because I'm literally sitting right next to them watching the tape. And Dan's either like, yeah, I mean, like, I know you think this is tough, but it's really not on us. I'm like, damn, like, but it looked good on tape. He's like, no, we actually just make this call and we got this adjusted out. I'm like, okay. Or it's like, hey, this stack release is like impossible for us to defend when we're in this look. So, okay, all right, well, how do we recreate that? And how do we build on that? So those are some of the reasons. And as a head coach, I want to be able to feel both sides of the ball. I want to hear other guys coach. I want to hear my running backs coach make comments, or my edge coach make comments on their players. And I can ask them, hey, is this the technique that we want on this? And they can say yes or no and explain themselves why. So I just think it's growth opportunities.
Seems like you, throughout the course of the day, at least with when there's position meetings going on, seems like you kind of pick and choose what positions you want to go to. Obviously, last night you're in the quarterback meeting, but some days it sounds like you go to different spots. How do you make that decision, or is it kind of a feel thing, or what's kind of the decision when deciding, hey, I'm gonna check in on the running backs today, checking on D-line? What's that kind of look like?
Yeah, well, like unit meetings, because we unit here every day, which is something that, again, being with Dan, I took, and as something that was really instrumental in our success. Having the coordinators have one voice in a meeting before practice on an off day, I think it's imperative to successful play on both sides of the ball, because there's one voice, singular voice. So I try to go offense one day, defense the other day in terms of the unit meetings. And then, yeah, just getting around the rooms and trying to see guys. And again, just seeing the players is the big thing. But I want to hear our guys coach. I want to see what their meeting structure is like. And I'm still in the process of getting it scheduled out how I want to in terms of my daily process. Hey, I'm going to this offensive coach this day, this defensive coach the next day. It's not perfect yet. But I want them to feel me. You know, I want our players to see me, number one. And I want our coaches to, oh, Coach Stein's in here. All right. You got to feel like that as a coach when the head guy walks in. I felt that when Dan walked into my quarterback meetings. Like, all right,
I got to be on it.
I better put on. And it's not like you don't want to be fearful, but it's like I want them to always feel like, hey, the head coach is watching or ready to step in here, or a recruit is, or I just deserve to give my players deserve my best every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Like we used to say, like your meeting should look like a Glazier clinic. They should. You shouldn't just roll through the tape. Hey, all right, let's watch 7-on-7. Like you should have a why. Like when we're in Joe Sloan's meeting last night, it's broken up. It's got a slide before. There's specific coaching points. If you just run a meeting and just watch the tape, guess what all your players are going to do? They're going to fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like have different guys coach, talk, be interactive, stand in front of the room, don't stand behind. Little things like that are what the players deserve. And so I'm still in the process of getting my coaches to be able to perform like that. And I was not perfect when I went to Oregon. There was things that I learned immediately. All right, this is the standard of a meeting for Dan Lanning, who worked for Kirby Smart, who worked for Nick Saban. So it's really, this is a Nick Saban meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
If he's the best coach to ever do it in
Yeah.
our game at the college level, why wouldn't I want to be that same way? It worked, you know? And you have to be authentic to yourself as a coach, but there can be a process, I think, that can help the meeting structures.
It was honestly one of my favorite quarterback meetings I've ever been a part of last night because, you know, you're a part of so many things throughout your career, and you know you watch the full practice, and it's like, hey, no, we got very specific things that we are hitting on to make you better, and if we're just buzzing the film just to buzz the film, then we're wasting our time.
Yeah.
I'm curious, shifting gears a little bit. Obviously, got to get to hear your walkthrough soon, but a lot of your meetings, when we're following you around, a lot of your meetings are closed door because you're meeting with recruits. And for you, I'm wondering what your non-negotiables are when you're looking at a kid, because obviously there's a select amount of not only roster spots, but obviously the world we live in with NIL and compensation piece. But what do you look for when you're talking to recruits and trying to find the right guys to be at Kentucky?
Like, do they love it? For sure. Do they love football? And why? Because this game is so freaking hard, man. We practice so much to have very limited opportunities on Saturdays. So you have to love it. You have to be process driven. And not every kid is process driven as a 17, 18-year-old. But I can tell if they love ball or not. Like, what are they chasing? Are they chasing to be great on the field? Are they chasing a degree? Or are they chasing a bag? You know?
Yep.
And that's where we look at, we call it like our CAT score. Like, do they have the intangibles that we look for, leadership qualities? Do they love the game? How do they treat people within their school? Are they coachable? Those are the intangibles that we look for in the player. And then like just the tangible stuff, like height, weight, speed still matters in the recruiting process. If I sign a bunch of Will Steins, we're not going to win a lot of games.
Fair enough.
We're not. So that's where it starts. But we still look at the production of a player, you know, and does this guy make plays in high school? Like when you turn on the tape, is he changing the game for his team? Does a quarterback complete over 70% of his passes, which is very doable in high school football? I also look at, I have a soft spot for poorly coached players in high school. I do. And I turn on the tape sometimes, especially quarterback play, and I see stuff on camp tape, just natural throwing ability, but then you watch the tape and you feel like he's got no chance to complete 70% of his passes or to throw for a bunch of touchdowns or to win a bunch of games because the offense is run poorly. And how do you do that? You go to the school, you meet with the coaches, you're like, man, I don't know what they're doing offensively. You watch them practice, it's not organized. So I do have a soft spot in that, especially being a former high school coach and going against a lot of these teams. So there's a lot of factors that are involved. Love of the game is definitely huge for me. And then, you know, how do their position traits that we need for each recruit. which is huge. So, a lot of these conversations don't involve the money. That's why I have a GM, Pat Biondo. It keeps me out of that. I mean, I'm in every conversation, but I'm not. I can be the head coach.
Yeah.
And if I need to have those conversations with a player or parent or an agent, I will. But that's why we have a whole personnel department as well. Obviously, Pat and I dictate those numbers when it's all said and done. But I want to be the head coach. I want to pour into these guys' lives. I want to invest in them. I want to have unconditional love for my players, not just conditional and just transactional relationships where we bring them in and we spit them out. I want this to be like home to them. And so I can get a feel early on in the process in these meetings, like if they really want to be at Kentucky. Because I don't want to get on my hands and knees and just beg people.
Yeah.
I don't. And I know what we have to sell. I know the product that we're going to put on the field. I know the offense and defense that we're going to run, the special teams that we're going to run. I know the donors that we have here. I know the connection piece outside of these white lines.
Yeah.
I know the degree of a University of Kentucky graduate is powerful. And I just think it's an awesome place to play football.
The last little segment I always like to do is just quick hits, and you can expand on this as much or as little as you'd like to.
Okay.
First one is, what's the best football movie?
The best football movie. Ooh, I like this. I mean, it was like such like a staple when I was a kid. Is Remember the Titans.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
it. Love
That's a
it.
good one.
Yeah.
If your offense or your team.
Wait, can I go back?
Of
I
course.
also love Waterboy.
Ooh, that's a good
Waterboy's a
one.
great
I
one.
love Waterboy.
That's
Do you
a great
relate to
one.
that one at all? Is that a.
No, but there's certain players that I've coached that
Yeah.
is like,
You've had a couple water
yeah,
boys.
Bobby Boucher. Yeah, Bryce Betcher at Oregon.
You
was like
got to
Bobby
visualize
Boucher.
an attack.
Heck yeah, that dude would just strike you.
Oh, he really would.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
If your offense, or you can say your whole team, was a band or an artist, who would it be?
My whole team was a band or an artist. That's a really good one. Well, I mean, an artist is like a singular one. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we're like Led Zeppelin a little bit. You know,
Oh,
That, I like
okay.
that.
Jimmy Page, John Bonham,
I love that.
Robert Plant, singing. What was the other guy's name?
Blanking on it. But that's
Bass player.
solid. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to have the
Gotta
whole crew.
have everybody, right?
Yeah, it doesn't work without everybody.
Hits
can't-
after hits after hits.
One guy playing
You
the
put on
guitar
their
is not gonna be
collection.
good.
They got a wide variety of songs, slow, fast, heavy,
Yeah.
not, and so like offensively, we kind of got a blend. We got multiple personnel groupings. We got different run schemes, and it kind of drives through Robert Plant's voice. Got Kenny Minchie playing quarterback, kind of driven.
I
through
like
him.
Oh,
that.
all
I
right.
love that.
And then defensively, like Jay's going to bring a lot of pressures. It's like the immigrant song, it's like, like, what's going on,
It's coming at
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, so
I
maybe
love
it's
Well,
like
I
Led
mean,
Zeppelin.
that's the music that's probably going to go on one of these montages.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll get some Led
Yeah.
Zeppelin going in the montage.
Yeah, I love it.
Last question for you here. What's one piece of advice you'd give to the next generation of coaches?
Keep investing in the players. It's still about the players. Like, I'm a much better coach when I got great players and when they care about their coach and they love their coach. Like, scheme is awesome. Like, that's such an artistry and like just it's so cool. I love the game. I love the X's and O's and the angles and the big plays, but you are nothing without your players. You're not. And coach the best ones and the worst ones the same, man. Invest in all these kids. Don't just because a guy might not be very good or keeps messing up the same play, like they still deserve a coach that puts their arm around them and like loves them. And the best coaches in my life invested in me. And the best coaches in my life were also really good schematic coaches.
Well, that's probably why you connected with them, though. Right?
Yeah.
Like they were trying to put you in the best
Yeah,
position.
but still, like, man, like be about the players. Like, tell them happy birthday, sing happy birthday to them. Like, know their parents, know where they're from, know their background, know their stories. Because when they know that you care, like they will play harder.
Mhm.
They will, and they'll learn more because they're invested in the meeting because they love their coach. They don't want to, let him down. So, yeah, if you're young and you're getting into this, like, put the players first. And the other thing is, like, no job is too big, no job is too small. Like, if you're the coffee guy, go get the coffee. I got coffee for a lot of coaches when I was a GA. You know, if you're the pick up the dry cleaning guy, go do it. You know, if you're the cut the film dude, or hey, late night, hey, I need this, just go do it. It will pay dividends. And just work, man. Like, just work. We all want to have cool plays on social media. We all want Dan to post our plays, but just work and grind, because it's freaking hard. And this is a very, very, very competitive industry. And guys want to get into this. I got guys on my staff right now that are working for free. For free. That are grinding up here every single day, that are giving themselves opportunities, not necessarily for this year to make money, but for the future. And that when I see them work, I'm going to call anybody in the country and say, hey, hire this dude, because he works and he connects with players, and he's about to stuff.